Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a flashlight to take a look at. This is a newer release from Wurkkos and the model is the HD05. This light is kind of a 3-in-1 in that you're going to have a main light, you're going to have a red light and a UV light, and this has a rotating wing, which is actually a fourth light on it. It's also going to have a magnetic tail, deep carry pocket clip, and several other really nice features. So stick around if you want to learn about it. I'll do a real quick unboxing. I'll go over all those features and specifications, go over the user interface, try to give you guys some beam shots, and then give some thoughts on it. So their packaging is actually really nice. Name, model down there, picture of the light, some of our specs there, 3100 lumens, talks about that wing light. You guys can pause and read any of that. And we're going to have a QR code right there. But let's see how things are packed and what all we get with this. Alright, looks like we might have a lockout. I'll have to read that in a minute. Manual, C-to-C charging cable. Looks like a lanyard and some spare O-rings. And then the light itself. I will quickly show you this manual just in case there's anything that I leave out in this video, or in case you buy this light and lose the manual. You can always come back to this video for reference. So here is this HD05. I'll give you guys close-ups before we start going over all the details. So this light definitely has a unique design to it. It's basically like if you combined a flat style flashlight with a tube style flashlight, you kind of end up with this. This is going to be made out of 6061 aluminum with the gray anodization, which looks to be really well done. It's going to be IPX6 waterproof rated and drop tested at 1 meter. Dimensions, we're looking at about 5 inches in length, 1.4 kind of in height, and then the thickness 1.1 inches. And there it is on top of a dollar bill for reference. Weight on the HD05, we are looking at 8.3 ounces. That weight does include a 21700 battery that's already in it. And speaking of that, let's get into it, see what kind of battery they give us. Lots of threads on that cap. There's a little film that we need to remove. And here is our battery. Again, a 21700, 5000 milliamp hours, Wurkkos branded. So this will have a USB-C port right there. So you technically don't ever have to remove the battery to charge, but you can if you want to put this in your external charger, or if you have another battery to put in there, you can use any 21700. And if you pull the battery out and forget which way it goes in, there's a little sign right there that tells you positive goes in first. Later in the video, I will show this down in a pocket, but as you can see, it does have a pretty deep carry pocket clip. And then also this tail down here does have a 1/4-20 thread in it, so you can put this on a tripod as well. All right, let's get into the user interface. So we're gonna have a UV light, a spotlight, a red light, and then basically a floodlight. And then this little switch here is how you kind of go in between them. And then this says that we need to press this 4 times to unlock it. I will let you know that when you're in lockout, so basically it'll just flash, it won't actually come on. But you can get a low output even when you're lockout just by pressing and holding down on this switch. And then it's like a momentary, so then when you let up, it will release. But let's get out of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we are on. So this light has what's called stepless dimming, and instead of it being like, let's just say 10 lumens and then 100 lumens and then 500 lumens, and instead it like ramps up from the lowest to the highest, And you do that just by pressing the center button. And you're going to see this get a whole lot brighter, 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 and it will eventually flash right there. And that's our highest amount. That is 3100 lumens. And if you want to go back down to the lower amounts, you just press and hold again, it'll get dimmer, and you can stop anywhere you want. So like, let me go down toward a lower amount right there. I'll stop there. And this also has mode memory. So whatever output I was just on when I shut that off, when I turn it back on, I'm going to be back on that same exact output. From any output, including the lowest output, which is 7 lumens, you can go immediately up to the highest 3100 just by double clicking here. And then you can actually go back to the lowest output by double clicking again. Here's something else that you can do with this main spotlight. Let's just say we're in one of the middle outputs, so right there. I can again double click to go to the highest output. I can double click to go to the lowest output. And then I can single click to go back to that middle where I actually was before I went to the turbo low. So yeah, if you're in any of these, you can single click to go back. I think that's a pretty cool feature. And finally, the main light is going to have a strobe, SOS, and a beacon. So if you are sensitive to flashing lights, you can look away for the next minute. But you get to that by just pressing the switch 3 times. And I'll show you the pattern here. I don't know if the microphone can pick that up, but it does make a little bit of a clicking sound. And then if you want to get to the SOS, you just double click the button again. It's the same thing here. I can hear a clicking sound. And then to get to the beacon, it's another double click. And it's just a flash every so many seconds. To switch over to your red LED, you can do this with the light on or off, it doesn't matter. So if we're on, all you gotta do is flip this little lever here and that will switch over. Or you could be with the light completely off and then switch over to it and turn it on the same way. It's gonna be almost identical to what the main spotlight was, where you're gonna have basically stepless dimming. You can go all the way up to where it gets super, super bright, it'll flash. You can press and hold, take it all the way down to where it's low. And then you can double click to go up to the brightest. You can double click to go down to the lowest. Almost everything's identical. The red also does have a flashing mode, and it's 3 clicks just like the main spotlight was. And it goes into like the higher output of the red while it flashes. And finally up here we're going to have the UV light. We'll turn that on. Here you're going to have a low and a high. And it does have mode memory just like the other ones. That looks to be the lower output right there. You're going to press and hold, get you the higher output. And that's really all that UV has is low and high. That is a 365 nanometer UV light. And I'll obviously try to show you this better at nighttime, but as you can see, it easily picks up on that strip there in that $20 bill. And now for the most unique part about this light, let's check out this wing here. I don't think I've ever had a flashlight that's had a wing like this. Supposedly you just open it and you can see the light is actually on. So it has some type of sensor. You see that right there? So yeah, when you open it, the light comes on. And it is a floodlight, and then this thing can rotate 180 degrees. I mean, this is pretty cool. We'll have to see how useful this is, but yeah, this is pretty sweet. So you can basically put this in any position that you need light. This is actually going to have 2 different color temperatures. I believe one was like in the 6,000 something Kelvin and the other's in the 3,000 something. So one's going to be a very, very bright white and one's going to be more like a yellowish color. But once this is open, this also, you can change the brightness of it by pressing and holding. You can see that got really bright there. And then again, you can press and hold to take that back down. So kind of like the main light and the red light, this floodlight, you can double click to go up to the highest amount, double click to go to the lowest amount, and then single click to go wherever you're at in between. And now let's try to change this color. It says to press once and then press and hold. Yep. Hopefully the camera picked that up. I'll go back to the other color to show you the difference here on my hand. But press once, press and hold. You can see how that color just shifted. And you can actually stop anywhere in the middle of that too. You don't have to have just the whitest and the most yellow. You can be any combination of it. So if I want to stop right there, I can. So yeah, very cool. And I'll try to show you that yellow tint change from this side so the camera can pick it up a little better. But press once and then press and hold. I did want to show you guys, there's like a little detent or a little nub that's right there. And then there's like a little hole right there. So as this gets close, it basically locks in place there. And basically no rattle at all. This is a really clever design. And here is the HD05 down in a pocket with that deep carry clip. You can see there's not much at all sticking up. And with that flat design, this actually carries really well in the pocket. And if you guys know anything about trying to carry a 21700 flashlight in your pocket, they usually do not carry very well. All right, let's check out the strength of this magnetic tail here. Again, a pretty heavy light at over 8 ounces, so we'll see if it can support itself. Yeah, there is no movement at all. That's a very strong magnet. In fact, that was hard to pull off right there. That thing snaps into place. I am going to get this fully charged up before I do any beam shots tonight, but I wanted to quickly show you guys. This does have a battery level indicator. When you turn it on, it stays on for a few seconds there. If it's a solid green, it means we're somewhere between 100 and 75%. If it's flashing green like this is, it's somewhere between 75 and 50. If it's a solid red, we're between 50 and 25%. And if it's flashing red, it's between 25% and 1% and probably needs to get on the charger. All right, let's check out this HD05 here in the dark. I'll show you guys the UV light and then the floodlight inside, and then we'll do the main light and the red light outside. So let's start here with the UV. This is the lower setting. And let's bump up to the higher. All right, and now we will do the floodlight. I'm going to be on the cooler temperature here. So even on this lowest amount, I can see just about everything in this room, but let's kind of ramp up through here. That's probably about halfway. And then we'll go on up here. So as you can see, that definitely illuminates the entire room. All right, now let's see what the Wurkkos looks like outside. I'm going to do the red first. There's a row of trees that's probably about 60 or 70 feet in front of me. I think the camera can just barely make those out. Again, with the naked eye, it's much, much brighter, but let's kind of ramp up through these here. I think that's coming in a little bit better there. It's a fairly wide beam though too. I can probably see, I'm going to guess probably 30, 40 yards wide. We're going up to the highest here. I think that shows up pretty well on camera. And there it is attached onto the back of the car. That is insanely bright. If you were straight on the side of the road or something, that would definitely get someone's attention. And now let's switch over to the main light. Again, I want to start kind of in that lowest setting. Again, I can easily see those trees that are 60, 70 feet away. But let's just kind of ramp up through. There's going to be a tree back here that's going to be about 100 yards away. We'll see if on the highest amount if we can see it pretty easily, but it's going to go up through here. Again, that's just part way up right now. I can faintly make out that tree. It's not that tree. It's not that tree. It's in between back there pretty far. But let's just go ahead and ramp up to the highest amount and see what this looks like. There you go. Now you can really see that. Again, 3100 lumens. It's a very bright light. I'm going to go back down to like the lowest amount. And then go back up to the highest again so you can get that difference. The beam here easily is 50 yards wide. And again, throws probably a couple 100 yards. Well, hopefully seeing those beam shots was somewhat beneficial for you. I did want to quickly show you guys that tripod mount because I didn't show it earlier in the video. Showing you here with this short tripod, but you could obviously use it with any tripod. I believe that this tripod is close to maybe 8 feet when you fully extend it out. And as you can see, it fits on there just fine as well. So what do you guys think about this HD05? Is this something you would carry or use? Let me know down in the comments. I actually really like it and would definitely recommend this. I just love the unique design of this, and just overall build quality is excellent. Wurkkos is a really good brand. The overall footprint of it is not that big. It has really good output at 3100 lumens, really good throw with it, and it will maintain that 3100 for over a minute before it steps down. And then it's probably about half the output. I mean, so you're still at 1,000, plus lumens, and then it will maintain that basically until the battery were to die. It's a very versatile light. You're basically getting 4 flashlights in one. You're going to have your main kind of spotlight, the red light, the UV light, and then that side floodlight. The user interface on this light is very simple. Press to turn on, press to turn off, and then just flip between the different LEDs. I was really impressed with the strength of this magnet because it is a kind of somewhat heavier light, but man, this magnet is super strong and holds this in place no problem at all. I like that it has the onboard charging, so you don't need any type of special chargers or anything. It's just a USB-C cable, and that you can use any 21700 battery. In fact, you can actually even use an 18650, which is significantly smaller than a 21700. But an 18650 will work just fine in it as well. Let me get this threaded on and I'll show you guys. All the same functions. And I also really like this deep carry pocket clip. I mentioned earlier that it does carry pretty well even though it's a somewhat heavier light. And probably my only complaint with this flashlight is that it makes that sound when you go into any of the blinky modes, whether it's strobe, SOS, or that beacon. And I will show you one more time, so if you're sensitive you can look away, but like the sound goes with the flash basically. And finally, this isn't really a complaint, more of a suggestion. I do wish that it had a power bank feature. You're using a fairly large 21700 battery. It would have been nice if you wanted to maybe charge a cell phone or something like that, but this is an input only. But again, overall, I think this is fantastic. It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of flashlights, you know, kind of like a jack of all trades. I think this would be good for homeowners, for people who are camping, people who work in trades, you know, like plumbers or electricians, HVAC, you know, linemen, auto repair. I mean, there's just so many uses for a light like this. So these lights are available on Amazon. The list price shows $99.99. I've had this light for maybe 3 weeks or so, and they've been $72.99 the entire time. You just click on that little coupon code thing right there. And I do believe that there's some other codes that are floating around that you can add to that to bring these down into the $60-some range, which I believe is a fantastic price because it is an excellent light and you're kind of getting 4 flashlights in one, plus you're getting that included battery. But I will leave that Amazon link down in the video description in case you guys want to find out more information on the light, if you want to read some of the other reviews, or if you want to pick one up. But alright guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.